Is it normal for an LGS to disqualify you for playing snow basics? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that snow-covered forests should be allowed to be played in pre-release? This guy just had snow-covered forests, and that was the basic that he brought with him, and he got DQ'd because his opponent was about to lose uh game one against his opponent. I'll read the whole thing. Help! I got DQ'd from a Final Fantasy pre-release due to using snow basic lands instead of regular basics. What? I was doing pretty well in pre-release today, went 2-0 so far, beating my last opponent where I already won one game and was ready to swing out at him for lethal with my fat chocobos with trample and the baby chocobo that had like 10 counters on it. However, my opponent decided at the last moment to call a judge and say that I was cheating because I decided to bling out my deck with a set of Ice Age snow-covered forests and plains. Judge told me, sorry pal, but the rules are the rules and you're not allowed to use snowlands and sealed. He then canceled all my previous wins and set my opponents as the winners of those matches. TLDR, I found out snowlands are illegal and sealed, even though this is in Kaldheim and it offered me no advantage. Did my opponent just angle shoot me to get an easy win? I will say, I have never heard of this before. It's kind of insane that you DQ somebody for this. You should just say, hey, you can't play snow covered basics, right? In the future, don't use them, or easy fix in the moment, right? Swap out the snow basics that they're playing for normal forests. The ones that are in play, de-sleeve, put normal forests in, continue playing the game, because besides that, it hasn't impacted the game at all. And yes, the rules are the rules. It doesn't say basic land, right? It's just a land. But I think that this card has been errata to say basic land. And so it's should be a really easy fix, right? You just say, okay, well, you lose this game, remove your forests, re-sleeve. Like the worst case scenario, they're gonna say, remove your forests, re-sleeve normal forests, then play game 3 because you already won one game. They give you a game loss, worst case scenario. You don't DQ them immediately from the tournament at 2-0. First off, record doesn't matter, right? But it just goes to show the emotional impact of what was done, right? This person was 2-0 at their pre-release. They probably felt great. They were doing everything right. They brought the wrong lands. And to be fair, they look like basic lands if you're a newer player. I don't want to say newer player. They look like basic lands. This does not say basic land, but I believe they've been errata to be a basic land, and it's just a basic land type. So opponent opponent is definitely in their right to just to call them on that, and that's totally fine, right? But timing, if you've already played a whole game with this person, off the bat, you should have said something really, really fast, right? First forest gets played. If their entire deck of basics is snow covered, you could have said that right off the bat, game one. Call a judge. This conversation could have been had and fixed. You didn't have to wait, play the entire match, or play the first game. At the end of the second game, then call the judge and try to get this person a game loss. And then the judge just escalates it beyond a game loss to a DQ, and then does the most crazy thing in the world, which retroactively reverts the games that the player has already won 2 losses. That's kind of insane because that means that the judge went back and said, okay, well, all of your previous wins are also void. And we know that this is not allowed to happen because when Sean Gallagher got cheated against in the top 8, the semifinals of the NRG, his opponent was blatantly cheating and was caught on camera. When the judges found out, they were not able to revert his loss because the next game had already started. And once you move rounds, right, the numbers are locked, the percentages matter, everything matters. You can't really mess everybody's numbers up just because one person, like, yes, the games should have been augmented where that player lost all of them. However, if they can't do it at that level for that reason, when it's blatant cheating, what do you mean that you can do it at a pre-release to some poor sod who just tried his best, right? Like he was 2-0. He was playing his last round. He was about to win his last match and go 4-0, and somebody DQ'd him for playing snow basics. And on top of that, they retroactively augmented all of his wins to losses so that he couldn't get any of his prize, I guess. Like, this feels very, very shady by the judge. And I understand that these lands are illegal, but give him a game loss, have him de-sleeve these and re-sleeve normal basics and keep playing. Like, it's really easy. And then down here are a couple really interesting comments. A DQ of pre-release for any other reason than hard cheating. I'm talking shuffling manipulation or sneaking in outside cards to set up the power of your deck is not in the spirit of what a pre-release is, especially since making rules mistakes like misremembering how Menace, random example, I'm not looking at all the cards to figure out if they actually have a law, works also DQ'd. So basically he's saying if people don't understand how Menace works and they quote unquote like cheat by misplaying, right? Not intentionally, but they don't understand how Menace works. And so then like somebody is able to block and then they just don't understand, it's because they don't get it, right? That's not DQable. Then this seems extremely targeted and blatantly attempting to help your opponent's place better, right? The judge may have known the other people that he's playing against and just been really willing to give his opponent a game loss. Saw something similar with chess. A guy used 2 rooks out 1 square to represent his second queen and got disqualified for that, even though he was on a clock and both players agreed for this. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? The There was 2 other people that he played against who he beat who didn't say anything to it, even though he was winning, right? They didn't try to like DQ him for his snow basics. In the spirit of the game, they allowed it to be because they're just, as long as he's not getting any advantage from it, right? They're just the lands that he bought. And maybe he just really loves snow basics. Maybe that's his favorite land in the world. And I think that the fact that he was 2-0 already, that means that he won 2 matches against players who saw that he had snow basics and were okay with it in the spirit of the game. And I think that ultimately that's what it comes down to is a respect thing where you look at each other and you say, okay, in the spirit of the game, I see you and I understand what's happening. And I think this is totally fine, right? Like we both understand and agree that this will be okay. And the third player lost game 1, was okay with it all of game 1 until they realized, oh, his opponent was probably also 2-0. Oh, I'm gonna go 2-1. I don't want to go 2-1. I want to go 3-0. So calls the judge over to try to get a percentage, even if it's just like, a GRV, rattles his opponent a little bit. Best case scenario, he gets a game win. I don't think he was imagining that he'd get DQ'd, but I think the judge was really easy to sway and jumped on his side and said, okay, yeah, this is unacceptable. And the judge may have been so used to being at a comp REO that it was just really trigger happy and looking for some way to execute his authority. But honestly, I agree with Jared. It should have been a quick fix. You're a regular REL. Just take the lands that are in play, swap them out for normal forests. Have a pile of forests next to you. Every time that you draw a snow-covered forest, you just take it out and you put a normal forest in and play it, right? Even that's if you don't want to take the forests and the plains out of your deck and then reshuffle and do all that. That's if the judge is being lenient, right? If he wants to give him a game loss, give him a game loss, but don't DQ him. He's already up a game. Give him a game loss. Let him play game 3 fairly. See what happens. Don't retroactively revert all of his wins to losses. That helps other people in the tournament, and that does seem kind of suspicious. Yeah, this person said it right. Even if they DQ them, setting off former matches to losses is insane. This other person's like, get a new LGS. Yes, they did angle shoot you. It offers no advantage and is strictly for flavor. The fact that he waited until a later game to complain means the dude was just in his feels about losing. I agree. Reasonable LGS would just allow you to use them. Feels like they could have had you swap them out and play from there. The DQ does feel like a bit much. I'm in the same boat. Swap out the lands that were in your hand and in play for normal basics, and then as you draw them, right, when you play them, just swap them out for normal basics. Like it's a very casual REL. Pre-release is where everybody comes to learn the game, right? Come on. My LGS has snow lands mixed in with the normal lands in the bank box. See? Same. There's more snow plains in my normal plains in my LGS. That's so fucking funny. It's a pre-release, not a major tournament. Technically, you were in the wrong. But this event's rules enforcement level is regular, not competitive. The focus from judges should be on helping the players have fun and learn if they make mistakes, not punishing them severely. Judges' call was not fit for the situation as you described it. Officially, you are wrong, since FF has 0 snow synergy. It sounds like he got snubbed unfairly. especially since it was after game 1 already. For the future, I'll probably check ahead of time just to be extra sure. Technically speaking, you did break the rules, but in a set where snow lands provide no mechanical benefit, the judge/owner should have just made you switch to regular basics instead, especially at pre-release. This is crazy. This is a better comment. I agree 1,000%. But yeah, so okay, so this person has an interesting devil's advocate. I disagree with everyone blaming the store. The store has to abide by the judge's rules. They hired a judge after all, and their top concern is keeping their status as WPN sanctioned LGS so they can keep holding pre-releases. However, the judge seems to have fucked up. Yeah, there we go. I'm not a judge, but it seems to be covered under guidelines at REL. Under a player has an illegal, insufficient, or another player's cards in their deck. A judge shouldn't have done what he did, but instead replaced the offending cards with basic lands of the player's choice. Boom! Right there. That's what we wanted to see. This is a regular REL, not professional. I would advise you to print out a copy of that document and present it to the owner of the LGS if you can. If anything, the judge should figure out how they fucked up. 1,000%. I think, that's the best thing you can do in the situation, right? Don't fight the judge in the moment. You're going to get, kicked out or whatever. But go do your research, learn about the rules. This person did their research. They found the document. You can bring it in and say, hey, we were at an REL. Why did I get DQ'd? Like, don't even talk about the fact that your previous wins became losses. But you should not DQ somebody for playing snow basics when the set has no snow synergy. Like, I understand it if like Kaldheim, you have to pull snow basics in your packs. It's the only way you can get them, and then they give you buffs. All of the basics that you don't pull their snow basics are normal basics. That's fine. But still, it's kind of insane. Yeah, Jared said it perfectly. He would have just been like, hey, Broski, be careful in the future. But that's fine for now. Like just keep playing and then tell them after you lose, because you're losing this game, right? Lose the game with dignity and class, and then inform your opponent, hey, just so you know, in the future, somebody meaner than me might yell at you for playing snow-covered forests, but we're at a casual REL, right? This fine. But if you're ever playing in a big tournament, you can't use those. People will yell at you. And then you just leave the person informed. You both have a little bit more respect for each other. You've communicated your emotions and your feelings. And, I think that this is just kind of insane. The judge definitely made a mistake, and the person did amazing. They went to Reddit, they posted, and they said, hey, help, is this normal? And all of these Magic players came together and said the same thing. Boom. And no disrespect to judges. I love judges. I have a lot of friends who are judges, but they're people. Some of them can make mistakes, and I'm not saying that they're a bad person, but that was a bad judge call. And if they don't choose to rectify this decision after doing research, if they don't choose to do the research, then they deserve that title. Instead, they decided to ruin someone's whole pre-release night over a completely petty decision. 1,000%. Yes. I think that people are really eager to, make a decision that shows their authority or displays their power, power in the loosest terms. And it's really important for us, like, as Magic players, as a community, to just because how many times have we heard like a call, like not of a judge call, but like one of us is asking a question to another person and that person responds, and then like the consensus of the community is different, and then that's how that original person gets their correct answer. If we just have one person who's in charge of everything, which in this case there's only one judge, we have to defer to their reasoning and their logic, which is fine. But then afterwards, as a community, we can do our research, we can look at the rules, and we can say, hey, that was definitely wrong. And I've never seen anybody in my entire life after first off get DQ'd for the wrong basics when there's nothing to be gained. In addition to that, I've never heard of anybody having their wins retroactively changed to losses. That's insane. So I just wanted to talk about this real quick, get that out there. Really appreciate y'all watching.